For the last 5 years, if somebody asked you that which framework you should use if you are using React as a technology, chances are that you would recommend Next.js. Now, it's early to say, but it's possible that in the next 5 years, that is not the case. There is a new framework in the town which builds on React, but is better in a lot of ways when you compare it to Next.js. And this new framework is TanStack Start. And this is a blog post that goes into a little bit of details about TanStack Start. So I'm going to cover this and I'm going to give some of my thoughts. So the author starts with the same thing, that 5-year answer is dead, where everyone used to recommend Next.js, but now there is a different option. Also, if you don't know, Next.js is developed by a company called as Vercel, which is a hosting company fundamentally, which has also created a framework that makes it very easy for you to get started with Next.js and then use Vercel as a default option for hosting your project. If you have been following along React journey, you would have seen that this app router concept was first introduced by Remix, which was then later acquired by Shopify, but Next.js brought that concept in as well. In 2023, App Router replaced Pages Router and React Server Components became the default mental model. Now, Pages Router is still there. It's not that it's removed, but all the work and focus of Next.js team has been on App Router. So if you don't know, Pages Router is something that I personally really like, even till now. And it's a very simple way of working with React, which comes with things like get static props, get server-side props, get static paths. It makes it easy for you to just configure which route or which page is fully dynamic, fully static, and that's it. There are no more states that you have to worry about. On the other hand, App Router is slightly more complex than Pages Router. Every component became a server component unless you opted out with use client, right? So there's a little bit of things that comes and starts to happen when you are working with App Router. You would have seen this use client directives which are used, or use server. Then there are server actions that let you write backend logic inside frontend files. 3 separate caching layers ran automatically under the hood. The promise was incredible. Less JavaScript shift to the browser, faster page loads, simpler data fetching. Something honestly I never really liked as a developer from the get-go. And the reality was also different. It was not what has been promised. He says that the most common complaint isn't that the server components don't work. It's that the developers can't predict when their code runs on server and when it runs on the browser, because everything seems a little bit mixed if you are not fully clear on the boundaries that use client and use server, these sort of directives creates. Next.js 16 fixed the caching problem. All dynamic code now runs at request time by default. You opt into caching explicitly with the new use cache directive. So Next.js also had a brief moment where people were also upset about the caching strategy. How do you actually cache things that you want and don't cache things that you don't want? It was simpler with Pages Router because it was all or nothing, right? If either you will use get server-side props for dynamic SSR, or you will use get static props, which will be cached with the CDN. But the architectural tension remains. Your app is split into 2 execution environments and you are responsible for managing the boundary between them. Some developers thrive in this model, others spend more time debugging serialization errors than building features. It sounds like a little bit of AI has been used in this blog post, in this article. I can get that feeling, but I mean, so far I do agree with the things that have been mentioned. So Tanner Lindsay, if you guys don't know, is also the same developer who developed React Query, which is now known as TanStack Query. And Tanner is also the creator of this new framework, which is TanStack Start. React Query is the most popular way of doing data fetching inside your React applications, whether that's with Next.js, whether that's just React standalone. It's just a good solution. And it comes with a lot of options like polling, refetching, prefetching, doing a bunch of these things. That library replaced your 200-line Redux saga with 5 lines of use query and just worked. Yeah, I mean, I don't know like how many of you actually have worked on a code base that actually uses Redux stores to fetch and then store it in the the Redux store, and that information gets delivered to the component via a single direction data communication. It was complex, right? If you had to add a new route or something new to an existing system, you had to like spend a little bit of time understanding what's going on. And this is like pre-AI world, right? So you can't just prompt Claude Code to do it and it'll do it. Before React Query, managing server state in React was pain that entire team spent weeks solving poorly. I know this for a fact. This is a true statement because I have seen this. After React Query, it was a solved problem. 12 million weekly downloads used at Apple, Google, Netflix, Amazon, Walmart, every big company and every startup. I think there were 2 options, SWR by Vercel again, and use query. And I think that use query has won React Query actually. And I mean, we can clearly see like SWR is still in the game, which is a second package, which is by Vercel, but it's clearly a lot behind React Query in the weekly downloads, right? You can see the install size of SWR is actually much better than React Query itself. But it's just that we see a lot more of React Query than SWR, generally, if you look into the ecosystem. Tanner also built React Table, which is also an interesting library, React Virtual, Tan Stack router. So he's like a hardcore developer, right? Who would create high quality packages and would make it available. That is where the Tan Stack also comes from. If you Google for this, you will see that tanstack.com is an actual website which has a bunch of these libraries that he has created, right? TanStack AI, something in alpha, hotkeys, something in alpha. So these are like very new things, I'm assuming, the dev tool, CLI, these sort of things. But then there are, much more stable things like query and router and start, which is what we are talking about today. So the author goes ahead and gives an example of here's a dashboard page in Next.js 16, which looks like this. Clean, component fetches data on server, no loading state, no use effect, nothing. But now your product manager says that the dashboard needs a filter button. And because this is a server component, you can't add a use state, right? You have to convert this into a client component. So one use state, and you need a separate file, a use client directive, and an understanding of serialization boundaries. The data prop crossed from server to client, which means it was serialized as JSON, which means you can't pass functions, dates, maps, sets, or class instances through it. If your stats object has a date field, it arrived as a string. If it had a method, it vanished. I'm not fully sure if that was the case, because I remember React server components actually support much more serialization compared to JSON. So this might not be exactly right. React server components are able to serialize things because they use a custom serializer, deserializer, right? That's how they also stream the components. So not sure about this paragraph generally, but yeah, I agree that it'll get a little messy as you're starting to add more and more things, more and more new features. The more interactive your app gets, the more files carry use client and the less server components actually help you. For content heavy pages with minimal interactivity, this model is brilliant. For dashboards, admin panels, and data heavy apps, you're fighting the architecture. The same page in TanStack start. So you create a server function, you create a file route, you give it a loader, and you give it a component. And then you grab the data over here. So a lot of things are happening here, right? So one file is there. The server function is explicitly declared. The component is a normal React component that uses any hook it wants. There is no invisible boundary. When the page loads, the loader runs get stats on the server, hydrates the result, and component renders with full interactivity from start, right? So this is basically what Next.js was in a way before they introduced the app router thing and this whole mess of use client and in these sort of directives, right? This thing, the ability for you to get data ahead of time, was done in get server side props or get static props, right? This was exactly with a different syntax was what Next.js does in pages router also. That is why I like it, right? I like it, the pages router thing, but it's clearly visible that that is not a focus for Vercel or Next.js in the coming months and in the coming years. So that's why I'm also personally excited about TanStack Start, because it's bringing back what was old in a new fashion, in a new way. You didn't have to think about which execution environment you are in. The server function runs on server, right? So obviously there is clear boundary. Nothing special or magical going on here, right? The TypeScript experience, I don't give it a lot of weight. I think one of the experiences that people also talk about is, sort of like how TanStack Start is able to also create typed routes. I think that's an easy problem to solve. You can do it on your own also. We run Next.js pages router and we have fully type saved routes. We basically, the way we work is that we have a script. I'll give you a small architecture. So we have a script here, like script.ts or something. What it does is that it looks into all the routes at build time, and you can also run this manually if you want. It'll look into all the routes which are available inside a pages folder, route1.ts, whatever, route2.ts, and it will create a separate component in itself, right? So we have a separate dedicated link component. We don't use like a actual link component that comes with the Next.js itself. And this link component is made type safe within the script itself, right? So the script, when it's building this link component, it's recreating it and it creates it in a way where all the types, all the routes are defined, right? So instead of using your default Next.js link component, you just use this one, right? So it's not very hard to build a system like this, which is sort of like an automation inside your existing code base that goes through, looks all the routes and creates a component. You can even ask Claude to do it. It'll probably be able to do a good job creating this file. This is clearly an AI written article, but fine. I would prefer that if some human would have written this. If not AI, then at least it has been enhanced. I don't like reading the style. This isn't a nice to have. This is a difference between, come on guys, just write properly like a human developer, right? But anyway, this type thing is not a deal breaker for me. I feel that you can do this with Next.js also, so I will not give it a lot of weight. Also, a lot of people prefer Next.js because they say or they think like it's the SEO angle is there, right? See, SEO fundamentally is just metadata, tags, speed of your content getting delivered, your robots.txt, a bunch of these things, right? And Next.js is not some magical thing. Like it will not configure sitemaps for you. It will not do everything out of the box. You still have to spend some time. All you want is a system that actually supports that in the first place. So TanStack Start actually ships with a lot of SEO things that you would need, which is, for example, full SSR if you want, get server-side props, right? And you can define these metadata tags as well. as a first class thing inside TanStack. So meta tags, open graph, Twitter cards, JSON LD structure, which is the structured data. So you can do all of that, right? They also have static pre-rendering and automatic sitemap generation over here, which is interesting, which is great. But if you're doing some sort of like dynamic rendering on a specific post, and you want to deploy a fully static version, you want to make your sitemap at least dynamic, right? Because it can't be discovered. Your sitemap can't be created on build time. It has to be created on runtime itself, and then it has to be cached. And they mentioned that ISR, which is something crazy that Vercel launched, and I remember the time that when they were launched, and it was super interesting and super exciting to see. This technology is using standard HTTP cache headers that work with any CDN, Cloudflare, not just Vercel's. They have a bunch of more things. Something again, next image, which is there, which is again like more of a Vercel sort of thing, because Vercel powers the optimizations, not Next.js inherently. TanStack Start has no image component, but you can link Cloudflare image resizing, stuff like that, to make the images possible. And then of course there are things like we have seen continuous bug reports inside Next.js about the dev server taking a lot of memory, it being very slow. And to be fair, they have done a lot of good work with Turbo, which makes it very fast to work with Next.js now. Next.js was insanely slow for big applications. I don't know how many of you have experienced that, but if you had a big project and you were on Next.js 14 or 15 without Turbo, it's very slow to work with. And especially like it eats a lot of RAM as well. And if you're not using Next.js on Vercel, this is something that I can say as a personal experience also, it's hard to set up Next.js properly, right? I'm sure like it's not deliberate, but there are a lot of things that actually go wrong. And I'm talking about maybe 1.5 years back now. So this might be outdated, but there are a lot of things that actually can go wrong if you are not optimizing or figuring out every part of the production stack, right? That's why like people prefer mostly Vercel, because it makes it very easy to serve a Next.js application at scale. Then the author also covers the security incident that you need to know about, which definitely impacted Next.js. But this is not exactly right, because see, TanStack Start did not support the functionality in the first place that actually made it safe, right? So React to shell vulnerability, which was there, which executed arbitrary code. Next.js was impacted because it supported that functionality. TanStack Start did not implement it yet. If they would have, then chances are that they would also be vulnerable, right? And for the money part, I think I have talked about this in the last video. I'll link it somewhere. It's an interesting video. Watch it. $45,000 a month for a static website, where I talk a little bit about the absurd Vercel pricing. The Vercel developer experience is great. The UI, the platform is extremely good. It scales really well. It will never let you down, but your wallet is going down the drain if you are using Vercel at scale. That is for a fact. Now, maybe they cut enterprise deals and maybe they give deep discounts if you are very high volume. But all we can know from sidelines is that if you're using Vercel at scale, you will go bankrupt much, much faster than if you are using a self-managed server or something, even on AWS. So this blog post generally is like, a little bit of AI slop, I would say. I can feel it like it has not been written by a really good developer or somebody who wants to actually deliver something. But the points that it delivers is more or less impressive, right? And funny to see a Heroku ad under the article where I actually did not cover this on the channel, but Heroku has discontinued their platform basically, right? So Heroku has just stopped onboarding new customers after so many years. And now they're saying that, we just don't want to continue in the first place. So it's funny that they're still running ads on platforms. The article itself is not really, I did not really enjoy reading it, even though the content is somewhat right. But just for the fact, I don't know if this is with you guys or not, but just for a fact, if I see an article written by an AI, there are a lot of tells in this article that this is an AI article. It just takes the fun out of it, right? Because I like to read articles which have a human element, the way people write. And the way AI writes, it sounds a lot artificial. I don't know if you can relate to that or not. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I do feel TanStack Start has a great future if they keep on the work. They 100% have the ability to disrupt Next.js. The only blocker that they would face is the existing distribution that Next.js has. For example, you can see basically over here, in February 1st week, Next.js got 35 million downloads. On the other hand, TanStack Start just got 10,000 downloads, roughly. So there is a very long way to go. And even if TanStack Start has the potential to kill Next.js or take over it, it's not going to happen at least for the next year or maybe year and a half, until and unless there is something so magical about it that everyone just starts to shift to tan stack start. But this framework absolutely, definitely 100% has the possibility of taking over Next.js because it's coming from a place where I know for a fact the experience and the working capacity and the mental models are much simpler, which is the Next.js pages router. Tan stack start is somewhat similar to that. And the second thing is that it's coming from a developer who has delivered back-to-back blockbuster libraries and products, even in cases which have bypassed versals like SWR. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one very soon. If you're still watching, make sure you leave a comment "I watched till the end" below to tell me that you were still here, and let me know what do you think about the video.